Alright, so what we're going to be testing today is the extensor carpi ulnaris using the technique of the manual muscle test. So we're going to have San to put his palm face down on the mat table. I'm going to take my right hand and stabilize the forearm and have him to extend his hand upward, or his wrist. We're going to have him to not only extend but kind of hold his hand in the direction of the ulnar, which is this side. I'm going to place my resistant hand. I'm going to apply a force in the direction of radial deviation as well as flexion. Alright, you ready? Alright, ready, let's go. Alright, and based on the manual muscle test, he has a grade of 5. Alright, so we're going to do the range of motion test for ulnar and radial deviation. So we're going to use a smaller goniometer, and we're going to palpate for the capitate, which is located proximal to the wrist joint, or which is located proximal to the lower carpals of the wrist. Do you mind if I palpate here?
I don't mind.
So this capitate should be about here. So we're going to place the axis of rotation there. Our stationary arm will be aligned, splitting the ulna and the radius. And our mobile arm will line up at the third metacarpal. Alright. So what we're going to do, we're going to have him to externally rotate or abduct towards the pinky, testing for ulnar deviation. Alright, go ahead. The opposite way. Okay, so range of motion is at 29 degrees. The average range of motion for ulnar deviation is 30 degrees, so it's not terrible. Let's go ahead and go back to home. We're going to do the same thing, palpate for the capitate, which is again about here. Line up the mobile arm along the third metacarpal, and the stationary splitting the ulna and the radius. Alright. And then now we're going to have him to deviate towards his radius, so radial deviation, which will be inward or adduction. Alright, ready? Go ahead. So radial deviation is showing 20 degrees exact, which is also the average range of motion for radial deviation.